I can tell you this. We have quietly amassed the world's largest library of vertical video UGC style clips. We have something with all of our clients that says, hey, anything that's about you, shows your logo, shows your product, talks about your product, you own that in perpetuity, which is what anyone cares about. The thing with the woman plopping down on the couch and glancing at her phone from an ad that didn't work in 2019, reverts to us eventually, years later. We have just crossed 300,000 just of those clips, because I was wondering of, say, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. So I would say in the high tens of thousands of ads. It'd actually be really funny and fun to put all of them together in one folder. Now with AI, you could probably like read all of the captions on all of them and learn from them.
Yeah. What are you looking to do with those assets eventually?
Yeah, well, that's a good segue into, do you want to go to AI, the AI future?
I guess before we go into the AI future, I want to know across those tens of thousands of ads and do you have any favorites? Do you have any that remember? Or I'm sure that you don't touch everything, right? But
Oh,
um,
tons of
or
favorites.
even like anything internal. I mean, do you have? I wonder, like, does your team have kind of a meeting where you show, hey, like this is a really good ad from this brand or that brand, whatever.
All right, I'm going to say this one at my peril because I think there may be a competitor of yours, but we did an ad for Bridget
Yeah.
that, I mean, absolutely has creamed it. Major seven figures on this one asset. CEO loves it. We love it. And what was cool about it, when I talked about pitch, personal pitch, and personal, it is like beyond personal. Genius creative strategists on our team did this. And it's very TikToky, though it killed it on Facebook as well. And he's walking into another room, and he says, "Hey, watch this. I'm gonna ask my girlfriend to borrow money." And you just see like it's going through a hallway of like an apartment on East Village or something. He says, "Hey, babe, hey," and it's on her, she's on her laptop. You just feel like you're in the apartment with them, like you're watching a TikTok, basically. And he says, "Can I borrow, $200?" She's like, "No." Why? And he's like, "Never mind. I'll just go ask Bridget." And then you hear her go, "Bridget? Who the f is Bridget?" It's bleeped out. It says this thing. He's like, "No, don't worry, babe. It's this thing. It's like an app." But she's like, "Well, you're gonna have to pay tons of interest. Like, you better not do that. It's apps." She's like, "No, there's no interest." So they're just having a conversation, and it's super native, Paul. It's like super native. There's no logo. There's no anything. There's no captions. And people just watched it, and we're like, "I want to know what that app is." So I love that example just because it's so not the kind of advertising Mad Men style that I learned in ad school.
Yeah, we're about to attest kind of something similar, a proposal gone bad, and it's we just actually reshot this really beautiful scene. The guy's about to bend down on one knee and hold up. What's your credit score?
There you go.
um, which I think it's just, to your point, it's that same thing of, okay, we're probably not in your case, really fun play on words with Bridget. Like that's super cool. We might not get self in that first couple of seconds, but people want to watch and want to listen and see the rest of that story.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. And when I was in ad school, I did learn something that's applicable here, which is we were learning how to write long copy. For anyone who remembers like magazine ads or whatever, there'd be that headline and then there'd be a few paragraphs at the bottom. And what I learned was, what is the goal of your first sentence? The goal of your first sentence is to get people to read your second sentence. What is the goal of your second sentence? The goal of your second sentence is to get people to read the third sentence. And that's all it is. So it doesn't have to be in the first sentence. You know what I mean? You just have to make something watchable and interesting. I think that's where so many advertisers fall down. They're just like, well, I'm an advertiser. I'm doing ads. I need to put, like you said, all my features, and I'll put a bunch of bullet points, and then I've done my job. Look, boss, I made ads. And then they don't work and they wonder why. But what you just described is a much better approach.
Right. I love that. Cool. So, yeah, you have hundreds of thousands of clips now, and what the hell are you doing with all that?
Yeah. So believe it or not, we did not foresee AI hitting as it has. And it's been an incredible tailwind to what I'm about to describe. But our vision is that everything you and I have talked about when it comes to creative, video creative in particular, can and will be productized. Somebody is going to do it. I'll explain what I mean. And we'd like to be the ones to do it, for better or worse in the world. And what I mean is today, if you want that Bridget ad, if you want a flip the script or problem solution style framework of UGC that's 38 seconds where they're showing the product and walking through, blah, 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 blah. Voiceover driven, you need to hire an agency, you need to work with influencers. There's a lot of cost involved, there's a lot of time involved, and you got to get it right, expertise. We believe that all of these ads are really component parts that are put together. My co-founder came up with a great metaphor. It's like there's a kitchen, there's a pantry, and that's where all the ingredients are. That's where the 300,000 clips are kept. That's where voiceovers, etc., all the captions, all the things, emojis you can possibly put on a screen. And when you watch an ad, just watch. It's all just ingredients. And then the rub is, how do you take those ingredients and put them together into a dish that when you send it out to the floor, people actually eat it, right? And today we do that manually. We don't even look in the pantry. We say, no, we're going to go to the farm. We're going to, get the ingredients. We think this is going to work. And then maybe they like it, maybe they don't. I think in the future, and I don't think it's that far away, AI will do all of this. So in order for AI to do its work, it needs context, it needs the recipes, at least some guidance on recipes that have worked, and we have that as well. And then it needs the ingredients, and nobody else has that. So you'll see an AI startup a week saying they're doing something with paid social or whatever. First, if you scratch the surface, they're almost all unusable, and I scratch the surface of every one of them. But they're all missing the footage. They don't have that. So lastly, we do these we call them 360. This is not even out yet, but it will be. We do a lot of what we call these 360 shoots. So incremental to all that footage. We get an actor in our 10,000 square foot LA studio, outside of it, et cetera, and we shoot hundreds and hundreds of things, of them doing things over 2 days. And then we have them saying hundreds of things. And it turns out, and I encourage anyone listening, when you watch the next 10 ads on Instagram or TikTok, it's mostly people doing and saying similar things, right? And you've got to fill it in with voiceover over B-roll, often of product, of them describing your product. So I'll give you a simplistic example. Let's say we have a young woman, in her nice apartment in front of her marble countertop, and there's a whip pan to her, and she says, "You guys have to." I don't like the "you." Like, I can't believe how much this changed the way I look at skincare. Okay, and now you see clips of a product, you see clips of her putting a white cream on her face, you see clips of her out on a jog. Great B-roll and clips that are all in the pantry, right? And you hear her continue to talk all about, whatever the brand, Neutrogena's new skincare line, but all the things she's saying under that B-roll, she never said. It's all AI voice cloning, which has gotten to an A+ level. Is indistinguishable. The script was written by AI based on what are all the ads that have succeeded before, what framework are we using, et cetera. And then the clips are pulled with AI. It even writes the script, Paul, and we've done this now internally, based on what it knows we have. Client can upload all their stuff. And so it's pulling those clips. And the hardest part we're finding so far, engineering wise, we've got over 15 engineers working on this full time for 2 years now. We've invested a lot in this, is where to make the cuts. We've had some breakthroughs there. They have to make the cuts like a real editor. And then, if there's emojis or captions of what she's saying, et cetera, you put those on and you have an ad. Can we do this right now? No. Just the latest one I saw that was like a super MVP that was completely AI made for Hims internally. None of us would put out into the world, but it's not that far off. So I hope that you can visualize what I'm describing. But essentially, 2 years from now, if not sooner, you will be able to log in to a platform, ours hopefully, see an ocean of already baked ads, and you can filter them. I want unboxing. I want one that shows an offer. And in the long run, we want you to even be able to talk to them and say, yeah, I like that one, but more about Black Friday, right? And it's done. And it's democratized for everybody.
In terms of the data inputs that you're using, to what extent are you actually getting data from the ad networks to say, this is good, do more of this? Or is it more, I see your competitive advantage of you're building this kind of like asset library. But yeah, what are the other data points that are inputs into this machine?
I think that's at first, just being able to make an ad. I keep telling our team, I don't care if it's horrible, but just like calling you up, which I will one day, and say, Paul, please check this out. and there's 183 ads, or 183,000 for self, and you're scrubbing through them. And I think of it, I hate to use this word, like stock video, in the sense that you don't click on one sunset when you're looking for a sunset and say, yeah, you write an email to Shutterstock saying, can you make it let more red? You just skip over that one and do the one that you like, right? So it's okay to have bad ones. Um, so I'm just trying to get to a place where you can see a viable UGC style ad, eventually connected TV ads. We can get to that if you want. That are, that you will look at as a sophisticated performance marketer and go, that thing's got just as good a chance of working as this other thing that this, whomever is spending weeks and lots of money on. That's step one. I think what you're keying in on is what my co-founder keys in on, which is the data moats that can be involved. Learning over time, right? Making sure competitors can only catch up to where we were. What is working, what's performing, and building that whole loop. And it's been interesting. Eric Super and I think Adam Lavallo have published on this recently. Eric kind of painted a vision of the future where creative is just part of it. Like Smartly, and some companies have already done this with images and swapping in a different picture or something. But imagine with video, the production, the ideation, what we're testing. Did it work? Did it not? You're just getting a notification the next day of, the types of creative that's working, and you can go up to the next level of whatever's important to work on 3 years from now.
I wonder if the Googles and Facebooks of the world might try to do this as well. And I don't actually know if they own those assets. Like if you upload an ad to the ad library, would they be able to take that?
Hell no, definitely not. If they took a Reebok thing, I don't care if it's a woman flopping down on a couch with a phone, and use it in a Nike ad, they'd be in big trouble. And that is what we're betting on. Look, Nanigans got usurped by Facebook. Facebook threw them hundreds of clients, made them almost go public, and then tapped them on the shoulder, literally in a meeting at Facebook, and said, guys, we love you. It's been great 5 years. We're going to build all this stuff as well. And so, that can happen. You do not want to be dependent on a platform that could build the same features. What I am very confident in is that none of these platforms want to go open a studio and pick up a camera. It doesn't scale. Google tried to do it with YouTube. They even just tried to have a network of like videographers you could meet. I happen to be friendly with the head of YouTube for advertisers. She said that just didn't scale. They got rid of it. So as long as we're the ones with the footage and it's the right footage, right? It's not a stock library. And I was surprised, Paul, like if you go to Shutterstock and just try to look for like, I just want a 9:16 of a 20-something guy looking at his phone and smiling in a non-cheesy way by the ocean. Good luck. It's all terrible. It's all very shiny. So we often say like that the asset library is really our moat.
And I guess a obvious question there is then, will you continue to get raw footage, and where is there still a place for a $100,000, highly produced TV asset, or will that shift over time? And I guess to another extent there, something I'm thinking about, I haven't done a lot of high production celebrity kind of like Super Bowl style ads. Is that space also going to be innovated? To me, it feels like components will, but yeah, will we still be spending $250,000 on a Super Bowl ad?
More cynicalness for me, I think the answer is yes. There will always be some of that because of ego. It's really fun to be like, hey, look, I'm a CMO. I want to go hang out with Taylor Swift and make an ad for $5 million. Literally going to Thanksgiving and saying, I made an ad with Taylor Swift for $5 million. No cousin is going to go, what was the return on ad spend over the, they're just going to go, woohoo, you're awesome. So I've seen that world on the brand side. It's still mostly the same. They had a huge scare in 2020, 2021 when Facebook just looked invincible. And it's like, why would you spend on anything else? Even Airbnb squenched their brand spend, threw it all over to performance. They are famously now sloshed back the other way. I think there will always be Super Bowl ads. Right now, Paul, it's a huge part of advertising spend in the world, those big brandy things. And I think that will get smaller. They've gotten a bit of a reprieve because, the narrative of 2 years ago that like, this is all a waste of money. We're over here on Facebook and Google definitely making it back. Aren't we awesome? That was really hard for that world to face. Now with ATT and everything, it's like, oh, whoops, we don't really know anymore exactly what's happening. So let's go back to media mix modeling and these, Kantar, giant textbooks full of hieroglyphics, and TV becomes more more attributable. But I do think that'll shrink a lot. And then like back to my crazy vision for we call it turning any vision into video. Even a 16:9 eventually, Levitra ad with an older couple walking on the beach, sitting in a bathtub, right? There's no reason those couldn't be ingredients in a pantry, and that whoever you become, I think a lot of our sophisticated performance marketer friends will become the next CMOs of these companies. Come in and go, yeah, I don't want to spend $3 million they want at Ogilvy and Mather to shoot an old couple again. No, let me just check out these 183 things. Oh, there's one that's exactly our messaging. Hey, can you have it be a little bit tweaked there? The bathtub's a little weird, switch to a different couple. Done. High res, 16:9, send it over to the CTV guys. And like Peter Thiel says, it's got to be 10x better, not 10% better. I think we're talking about 100x better. And again, I think that everything I'm saying is gonna happen. It's just like AI is just too good and to not have it happen. But it'll take a time, a while.